Hi, welcome to Tractor Doctor TV. Today we're going to go through this old Alice baler and see what I need to do to it. I bought this thing from a friend of mine a few years ago, and then I got busy with helping Crazy D and she said a while, and now it's time to, I think it's time to So guys, before we get started here, I like to talk to you about a little trick of mine that I like to use. I like to get an aftermarket manual, write down, circle in the book what procedure I'm doing, make a note of where it is, and then you're not ruining your original 19 whatever or 2000 even now with the newer equipment books, and you have a second one with those or an aftermarket with the older stuff, then you're not ruining your good book, your equipment book. So guys, we're going to start here at the feeder house on this old baler. Going to go through what you need to look for, make sure certain things are okay and moving, and so like starting here with the feeder flow bars here and the forks on that, make sure they're all there, and then you want to go from there. You're going to slowly rotate this and make sure all your fingers, you have all your fingers, and then while you're doing that, you want to make sure that your fingers are not brushing up against your bands here. And if they're doing that, then you need to go in and go into your manual. Go into the manual here. Can you see the manual? Manual. In the manual here, and follow the procedure that they say, because when you go across from manufacturer to manufacturer, it changes just a little bit. So I'm really not wanting to go too much into that right now. But then as you're doing that, so check these, make sure your bands are okay, and then you have on at least on this one, you have these two holes on each end. One here and then one on the far side. So like I said, we have those two holes. Those are for greasing the beater bars on each end, and which when we get to more working on this thing, we'll go a little deeper into how to do that. So guys, now we're going to work over kind of and look at this area. We're going to check our chain, make sure that it does move, and make sure you look at the sprockets and make sure they are looking okay. Now this chain here runs your pickup over here on the other side of this plate, and it looks really good. It does need to be oiled. Now the book says to use oil on the chains, and it says just use motor oil. Find, and it will tell you somewhere on your flywheel the rotation, direction of rotation, and you want to turn it and the overriding clutch will click, and you want to make sure that you can go all the way through, and if it gets tight or stiff or so, from there guys, we'll go up here, and then you need to go in and spray some sort of spray lubricant. I highly recommend something like PB Blaster, or you get real kind of inexpensive stuff. You get some what they call silica oil. I don't recommend WD-40. It's okay, but I just don't recommend it. So from there, guys, so now we're done here with right now with the flywheel, and we're going to take the cover here off, and this goes up and over your ram on this specific model, which most of them will. And then you want to do like I did earlier, check the chain. That may need to be a little loose. It could use some tensioning. While you're in here, you want to check and look at where the ram rides, and if you're having issues, that's where you want to kind of spray your lubricant stuff, and then you want to slowly try to work it over by hand as best you can. If you can, put a bar on your flywheel and slowly finish rolling it over until you can do it, almost get it to the point you can do it by hand. There's other ways, but I don't like I don't suggest it. It can cause issues. You can break things that way. So that is looking pretty good. It does need some cleaning. This chain does need tightened. It should be a little bit tighter than that, I think, which isn't going to be too hard. Just get that tensioner pulley pulled a little tighter, and brings us to checking oil on your gearbox or the ram. So I know on this one the oil is good because, like I said, I bought this a few years ago from a friend, and one of the first things I did, because you know it's like you get a new toy, you got to play with things. I changed the oil in here. It has good 80-90 weight oil in it, so I know the oil in here is good. But you just on here, like this one, you just pull this plug and you check it and make sure it looks okay. Make sure there's plenty of oil and the oil looks good. But other than that, guys, I think it's time to move back some more. So now we got all of them off this time. You want to pull that off, and then you want to do like I did earlier. There's several chains here, so check, make sure this one's good and tight, and then this one's, that one's pretty good. It's not as loose as the other one we looked at. And then you want to come back and start looking at other things. So as you have the shields off, you want to check, see how things are looking, and like I said, check chains and kind of look for grease points as you go through. So, and then that way you kind of know where they are, and then the book does tell you where they're at. So, and then we're going to come back a little bit farther here, and then we're going to look at just the minor little things here. So like there's a bearing here, you want to make sure it spins, but this one doesn't. It has stopped spinning. I don't know if you can see, but they have replaced the spring that pulls on the bell length arm. The knotteries are looking okay. They're a little loose here, but that's okay. And that is actually quite loose, and I think it's needing to be addressed. So that may be something we look at. Then you want to go ahead and look at other things. So you're going to take the bell arm and set it up out of the way. You're going to check your star wheel. And this one, I don't know if you guys can see that. There's a good, there's a fair amount of play, and it shouldn't be that way. And I kind of know that this is bad because like I said, I had put gear lube in it, and I was new toy kind of thing, got to play with it, and I was having trouble with it making bells. It makes it okay, and when it would set the knotters off and do their thing, the bells are what I call a banana bell. It would be kind of horseshoe shaped, and they would break as they fell out. So I know I have to get this fixed. This is actually something I kind of didn't realize was going to be something I needed to address. I'm going to go, and we're going to, since we have it tripped here, did we trip it enough? Yeah, we tripped it enough. Okay, so we're tripped. See if I can slide. There's a little clutch fork there. And then I'm going to go to the front, guys, and rotate it. And then when I watch filming here in a second, in a little bit, I can see how good the knotters are working. Everything looking okay, Dad? So you see there's a star wheel lever just open and set it back down and start coming back up. Okay, are the needles up, Dad?
No, they were.
I don't know if I can back up. I can try.
No, they were already up.
They're up. They come past. They're up. They're just coming up. Or they're coming back down.
They're going back down. They were already here.
So, as you guys saw there, as the needles come up, there's two little holes on each end. And these, some of them, some brands will have rollers in the inside of the needles. I think John Deere is one of them. I'm not sure. I think International might do that as well. But I'm not sure, and I know you guys will correct me if I'm wrong. And so I'm going to continue until we get back to zero again. So we're back to zero. So now, guys, I have to view the footage and see how things were, but so everything should have turned. Nodder should have everything should have done just fine. I know this all in the back here needs to be greased, and we'll grease it here in a little while. I may, since I have to take this apart, I may make a video of how to time your nodders in. And guys, from there we're going to go a little bit farther back. So guys, from here you want to check and see if your tensioners, and these, the ones for this one are off. I've taken them off to when I was cleaning out the baler, and they're stored away here in the twine box to keep them dry and all. So, but you want to check those and make sure they're mobile, they turn, and of course, you know, if they don't, you need to spray stuff in them and get them worked loose. And they had several options, and I know a lot of brands did. John Deere had several options. For this one, I happen to have two of the options. I had one option of the extended bell chute. So I have the extended bell chute. There was come from this bell chute here. You had it where an option of where it had a thing that would rotate the bell sideways, or had an option to sit here where this chute is at, and it had an option of a bell thrower, is what I'm going to call it. And of course, you know, the bell come in and the full bell come in, and it had a little motor up here that would run it, and it's kind of like one of those baseball pitching machines, and it'd pitch it out the back, and you'd the book told you how to set it to where it would shoot it at a certain distance, and for it to go to the back of the trailer, middle of the trailer, front of the trailer, and all that stuff. So, and then the other thing I have as an option, and it's over here on this side, and that is the trailer hitch down here. So the trailer hitch is another thing that was an option, and I know a lot of other companies had it as an option too. The only thing I thought was interesting with Alice, we'll go back towards the nodders here, is actually the counter is an option. You do not have to have the option to have the bale counter or to not have a counter. So I think ours had the option of that as well. And then guys, so get back onto the baler here. So the last thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and open this up, and you want to check and make sure. See guys, I think all the bits in here. There's one of them. So this here, guys, is the bottom side of. It'll go right in here. It'll go under here, up through here, and then your handles here go on top. But anyways, back to the box here. This, of course, you put your twine in here. It has space for 4. You want to check and make sure that this is pretty clean when you first get it. And clean out all the old twine. And here in maybe a future video, along with maybe timing on those on the nodders, the needles and stuff, I will show you how to check and make sure the twine you have will work for the baler. Well guys, I think we're getting ready to close out this video. I do like to talk one little thing else on this. If you are first-time baler owners and you're like, I wonder if my tractor is big enough for this thing, what I could find and research I have done, depending on your terrain, I have found that most of the places I have found my information on these balers and stuff recommend you to do about 35 on like flat ground like I have here in Kansas on up. So, and it also depends on if you're going to have a trailer, a hay trailer behind you. You'll need a little more horsepower for that because, of course, you're pulling the weight of the hay and stuff. But other than that, guys, I think we're at a point that we know what we need to do to get this thing ready to go. I'll probably find more things that I have missed during this video, or so. So, guys, like I said, I may have missed some things, and before I leave you guys, I'm going to ask you guys to give it a thumbs up if you liked the video, subscribe, and we'll make some more videos for you. So see you next time. Bye.